everyone, English sisters. So yesterday we were talking about how how to be brave, and I suppose how to develop that braveness. And so we were thinking today it's a bit like a little muscle, isn't it? The muscle of courage.
I think it's a bit like exercise. If you don't do it every day, you're going to atrophy, aren't you?
Yeah, I do think it is like that.
I think if you have to be like, if you don't exercise every day, you're always lying down. In the end, it gets really difficult just to even take a few steps, which can be, quite debilitating. So I think...
Well, that's very debilitating if you don't even take a few steps. You're being rather extreme here. But definitely, I get the point. No, I do see.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Of course I understand. What I was thinking is that it really is like a muscle. I mean, the muscle of bravery or courage, or whatever you want to call it. And I do think, we can become stuck in our fearful little ways and sort of... you just don't use it anymore. And what's the point? You think, no, my life's comfy. Why do I need to be brave?
But I think even if it's not comfy, because you get
comfy by being it's in the same position, isn't it? So you're not comfortable,
you're
but that is
comfortable with the
uncomfortability of the situation.
No. You're comfortable with the uncomfortable situation.
Exactly, because that is what is familiar. And as human beings, we love familiarity.
So that's why so many people stay in a marriage that's no longer working for them, or stay studying when they no longer should be studying because they don't like what they're doing anymore.
Well, they've identified with that kind of, they're a student, and so they continue to be a student, which is, that's not that bad, but I suppose...
If you're not happy with what you're doing, but you're still comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah,
so
that is quite surprising. Yeah, that is quite surprising.
Or even if it's not a marriage, if it's just in a relationship. We were talking about that today, that we had a client that wasn't really happy in their relationship, but they were just kept going because that's how they felt comfortable. I mean, even us ourselves, sometimes it's like this morning when I woke up, I felt like having chicken broth. Because I made some yesterday.
That was so weird. Yeah, but why didn't you drink it?
I thought, no, I can't have chicken broth. It's morning, kind of. It's breakfast. I want my coffee. But then I thought, do I really want my coffee?
Or is that what you're familiar with?
Or what I'm familiar with.
So we tend to go back to the usual habits.
And I did want my coffee, but I knew it was because I was familiar with it. But then I made like a conscious decision, and then I had the chicken broth for lunch.
Yeah. So what we're trying to say, I think, here is that we're being very...
I think if you push yourself to feel brave, you will be brave.
Well, yes, I think you have to learn how to... You have to acknowledge that you're fearful. Because if you don't even acknowledge that, you're just simply not in a place of awareness. You have to acknowledge that, phase one, you have to accept, okay, yes, I am fearful at times, and I would like to become braver and more courageous at this particular thing. And so I think once you acknowledge that, then you're aware of it. And then once you're aware of it, you can address it. And how do you address it?
I think if you ask yourself the question, if I've already done that, or I'm doing that now, would I be happier? And then if the answer is yes, then that's probably right for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that that is very true. And I think also that in order for you to train this bravery muscle, I think you have to acknowledge that you're fearful, like what we were saying before, and then also become aware of what you're doing in your mind to become fearful. So what are you doing? In your mind, you're seeing images, because that's how we process things.
Or hearing sounds.
Yeah, most of the time, you can usually...
It's you're remembering something.
You're remembering something, or you're imagining something. So you say, no, I'm fearful of that. Like, I'm fearful of doing this presentation, because you can see yourself doing the presentation, and you become fearful of that situation because maybe the image that you're seeing is you're not doing that well.
You might mess up or something.
You think you might mess up, you might fumble, and you might get really nervous. Yeah, so you can see yourself in those situations. And so once you acknowledge the fact that you're fearful, then you can become aware of what you're doing inside your mind. What kind of movie are you playing? What thoughts are you thinking? Become very, very aware of those things. And only when you are truly aware of those things, then you can play around in your mind. And that's when you can really start to train your mind. And by training your muscle and your bravery, you can train it to work for you. It can become the best trained muscle you have if you need it, like that way. So you train it. How do you train the bravery muscle?
You train the bravery muscle by, first of all, acknowledging, like what we've just said, that you have
fear,
fear,
vulnerable,
and that you're vulnerable. So acknowledge, and then accepting that you have the fear. So don't get angry with the fear. Just say, okay, I have the fear.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean I'm a loser, I'm a weakling, or I'm a no good, whatever expletives you want to use. It doesn't mean that. It just means that, if anything, it means the opposite. That you're already on the way to courage.
You are on the way to courage.
You're already brave because you've admitted that you're fearful. I mean, how many people never admit they're fearful, and goodness knows what they get up to?
The problem is, I don't think a lot of people even are aware that they're fearful.
But
because
some
they don't push
and they
themselves.
don't admit it, and then they get even into, they can, I mean, like if you've ever had the feeling of, for instance, I remember when I first learned to drive, I had the feeling that I wasn't quite capable of driving, and I had that fear.
Oh dear me.
Terrible was going to happen. So then you have to, don't laugh, you have to acknowledge that fear.
Yeah. No, I remember that fear. It was really scary at first.
Think, no, I'm not going to drive on my own. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
You know, even if some of you have already passed your test, it's ever happened to you, but there could be another. I shouldn't climb that ladder because I think I might fall off. Why are you thinking that?
Obviously in those situations there is something that is potentially dangerous, and so that's why I'm laughing, because the examples you're giving are obviously examples that require common sense.
But some people wouldn't listen to the fear, and they would just go and drive, and then they might have a fatal accident.
Well, yes, in that case, but
so
you know
that's what we're saying. I'm saying.
You're addressing a different kind of that's the kind of fear that must be taken care of. This other kind of fear of how to develop like the courage muscle is like, how would they develop the courage muscle? What do we do in order to make us brave? We use our imagination as well, don't we?
We also do the thing that makes us scared.
Yeah, we do the thing, but before we actually do it, we see pictures in our minds of us doing it successfully. So if we have to go and talk in front of a large audience, we are both going to see ourselves doing this successfully. And by training the bravery muscle, the courage muscle, in order to see ourselves at the final point where everyone's clapping and we've done it, whatever we have to do that requires us to be brave, and requires courage, we use our imagination. So if you want to, train your bravery muscle.
You can either use your imagination to fear the worst, or you can use your imagination to fear the better.
Sometimes using it to fear the worst is quite interesting, because you can say, what's worst case scenario? Like catastrophizing, how do you say? Like the catastrophe, the worst thing that can possibly happen.
Is people will laugh at me.
Well, yeah, that's for you. Yeah, people will laugh at you.
That's not for me. I'm just saying that could be an example. People will laugh at me. I'll be ridiculed. I'll be make a laugh. I mean,
I'll be a laughing stock.
I make a laughing stock of myself. I mean, what else can happen, really? I mean.
Well, no. What else can happen is that you fail at a presentation, your job interview. You may not
marriage.
Yeah, you may not be the best.
But there's always room for improvement, isn't there?
There's always room for improvement. That's why, I do believe that training the bravery muscle into seeing yourself either by catastrophizing, like what you did say, which is quite amusing, and saying what's the worst case scenario that could possibly ever happen to me, or by visualizing yourself as success. I think that I always use the success one. But I mean, we both have done that, and that's why we've written books, and that's why we manage to help people, and that's why we do public speaking. It's because we usually see the best in it. Come on, let's face
we
it.
imagine the best thing to happen, even though we can be very scared at times.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
it
we're
requires
not
bravery.
really, a lot of people think we're extroverts, but we're not really that.
No.
I mean, maybe in some ways we are extroverts, but we're really more,
We're more introvert, really.
and we are quite shy. So, like, even doing this, being on camera, it's a stretch for us. Even
It's
though
a
we're
stretch.
used to it, but it's still a bit of a, it's not.
We
think, why are we going on camera? Why are we going to do something? And we think it's going to help someone else. So it's like our duty to do it because we're going to be able to help someone.
Well, as professionals, I do feel it's like our duty because we do manage to help so many people offline. So many.
So it's not really about, it doesn't really become about us anymore. So I suppose that's how we train our courage muscle as well, because we say it's not really about us. It's about you. It's about helping you.
It's about
doing something for someone else, which in turn makes us feel good because we want to be of use and of help. That's one of the primordial needs of it. It's one of the basic needs on on the Maslow pyramid of needs or whatever it is, that scale. So it is a basic need for most of us. So maybe if you think like that as well, maybe it can help you too.
If you're really good at something or you do something particularly well, if you think, hey, it's my duty to share this stuff because I'm really good at it, and or why not?
What I think is don't let the fact that you haven't exercised, if you haven't, your courage muscle, to put you off doing something that you want to do, to put you off being your best, to put you off building that business, to put you off jumping off the cliff on a bungee jump or whatever, because you've always dreamt of doing that, to put you off going on a plane. Don't let that put you off. Because you are courageous. And
I would say jumping on a cliff would be a good thing.
On a bungee jump.
On a bungee jump, but I would say.
On one of those things, like parachuting.
Okay.
Obviously in a safe environment.
You've been doing something
that you would
rather
normally
adventurous.
Be really scared of, and it would require a lot of courage. But you've always
dreamt
wanted,
of
or
one.
You always admire people that do that and wish you could do it. Something like that is what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
Because
it's like exercise as well. If you're really unfit and the doctor tells you that you're really unfit and that you need to exercise, and you think, oh gosh, I can never exercise. It could take so much courage to exercise, and I'm never going to be that person that's fit. Well, you never will be fit. But if you take it, I'm going to exercise my courage muscle as
I would do a normal muscle and a body muscle.
As with a body muscle, and I will exercise, and every day I'll get a little bit of courage, and I'll go
Gently,
for a 5-minute walk, then I'll go
yes.
for a 10-minute walk, then
Yeah.
I'll go for a 15-minute walk,
That's a
then I
good
might
point.
join the gym, or I might not, I might do it at home. But I'm still doing it. I'm doing it, and I'm doing it, and I'm doing it again and again and again and again until it becomes habit. And then it's not uncomfortable anymore because it's you. It becomes you.
It becomes you, and then the muscle becomes strong, and so that muscle gives you energy.
Easier and easier.
Yeah. Plus, that is true. It does become easier and easier to do these things, and then you think, next step.
Then you think, what was the fuss about? And then you look on to the next step.
Yeah.
You think of the next massive mountain you have to climb, and then you say, no, stop.
Well, you don't always have to,
mountain.
and then plus you don't always have to be climbing big mountains, really.
But
I mean,
most people
metaphorically
don't
or
want to.
not. Yeah, there are stages in
Most
life.
people want to better themselves.
Yeah. Well, evolution to grow, yeah. Is it getting too long
Yeah,
now?
I think that's enough now.
Okay.
Let us know what you think,
And,
join us on all our social media.
Keep in
Facebook,
touch.
Keep in touch, and let us know how you exercise your courage muscle, or if there's anything courageous that you've done that you'd like to share with us.
Yeah,
We'd love
or
to
just
hear from
anything
you.
you're fearful of, and we can help you.
Exactly.
Because that is what we do practically every day, because anxiety is often caused by fear.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Lots of love and smiles.
love from
English
English Sisters.
Bye-bye.
Bye.